Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now I'm going to make a baby card and I've got Pooh and Piglet here and I've got Tigger and Eeyore and I have got a lattice, 3D embossing folder, and I've got the Pooh Sweet Sentiments. Now I had a friend from church text me last minute and needing a baby card for a shower that was in, 2 or 3 days. And so she said, can you make this for me? I realize it's last minute, if not, whatever. And she sent me a picture of what she wanted, and I had all the pieces that I needed for it. She wanted baby on balloons, and then she wanted all of the characters hanging from the balloons, and then she even wanted the specific sentiment. Now, I just took a 3D embossed panel and embossed, and I'm going to lay it down. I had to go with one that was not directional because I'm making a 5x7 card here. I really wanted to use the baby blocks or the numbers that match this collection, but they were directional, and since I was doing a 5x7 and I needed to turn it just to get all of this to fit, I had to choose another 3D embossing folder. Can't remember what this is called, but I will link it in the description box below so you can check it out. I'm just going to get it glued up and laid down on here. I knew that I was going to be quite busy, so as soon as she texted me and asked me to make it, as soon as I finished with the project that I was working on, I started on this one. And it took me about probably 30 minutes. I got my die cutting done, and then the assembly is about 20 minutes long. And then I quickly sent her a picture back, and she's like, wow, that was fast. And I was like, well, I needed to get it done. So my panel's hanging over my card base a little bit here, so I'm just going to trim it down. So I just knew that if I was going to commit to it, I needed to just get in and get it done because the Weekender is coming up, and I have got all of that going on this weekend. Plus, we have all of the upcoming new releases, both clubs and regular core product from Spellbinders as well as Hero Arts. And so I knew that I was getting very busy and I needed to get this done. So I just took some, I actually had this piece of blue and white pattern paper laying on my credenza. I don't know why. I must have used it for another, I think that other baby card I made. And I thought, I think I can get all 4 of these balloons out of there. So I die cut the balloons out. I just brought in some Spellbinder cardstock for the strings. And then I brought in I think this is the Classic Mouse alphabet that I used for the B-A-B-Y letters. And I'll try to link that in the description box as well. And I thought they'd look really cute on here, and they're big and bold. And these balloons are actually bigger. I could have used, pulled another balloon set out of my collection and made some smaller balloons, and it would have probably given me a little bit more landscape. But once I got started on this, I just kept going, and I knew that I needed to get it assembled. So I'm just going to try to figure out how I can make all of these lay down on here and fit, and then figure out how I'm going to put all of these critters on here hanging from it. I'll get it on there. It'll be a little tight, and she was happy with the card, so that's all that matters. Anyway, she stopped by just a little bit ago and picked it up, and then I had forgotten that I had videoed it, and I was getting in my photo editing application so that I could edit another video, and then I saw it sitting there, and I was like, oh, I need to get the voiceover for this done. And then that's when I realized that I hadn't really taken a decent picture of it. The only one I had was the one that I snapped really quick and sent it to her so that she could see what it looked like. And so that's the one you're going to get to see at the end. But anyway, I think you can pretty much see the card on the video. So we'll just get this Y assembled. And I've got all of my critters off to the side there. We're going to get them assembled, and we'll get them added to the card. So Pooh, he only has a few pieces. We've got his arms and his legs and then his body. And then you've got a little tiny piece for the tip of the nose, and then a couple pieces that you put behind the eye and then the ear. And then he comes together pretty quickly. I am going to speed this assembly up to about 1.5 times just so that it won't go on and on forever. And so, like I said, it was about 20-minute video, but I got it down to just under 15. So we've got the front leg and the back leg, and then we've got the 2 arms. The back leg is the shorter leg, and you're just going to position it to where, it's kind of above it so you can see both of them. And then I've got to get these arms on here positioned to where it looks like he's holding onto the balloon string. So I am going to bring the arm a little bit more forward than I probably have when I've assembled it before. And I thought maybe it best to get it laid down on here so that I can figure out, how I'm going to position the arm. So I've decided let's go ahead and get the letters laid down on here since I'm going to have to position the characters around the strings. So I'm just taking just a foam square, just one, and I'm kind of lightly pressing it so it won't move, but not real firm, because I want to be able to, if I need to adjust it to get everything to fit, I'll be able to adjust a little bit. So I'm just kind of lightly touching it on there, and then if I need to move it, I can. And it has turned into a beautiful day, and I think every motorcycle in town is driving down my road very loudly. So if you're hearing that in the background, I apologize. Anyway, so I'm going to pop out the little place on his ear, and it almost looks like a little heart on his ear. And you just put the little circle around there, and I'm going to put the little circle around his eye. And I have die cut out several of those black circles with the die so that I can do this on all the little creatures. And I am going to put the little nose down, and it's a tiny little nose, and it just lays on there. It almost looks like the shape of a heart as well. So there's our little Pooh, minus his arms. We're going to get him laid down on our panel, and then we will position his arms to where it looks like he is holding on to the strings. Now, Pooh and Piglet were the best ones as far as being able to position them with the strings and make it look like they're actually holding on to it. The other two, just because of the way the dies are designed, didn't make it really that easy to position the arms. Now, Tigger's not as bad. Eeyore's a little bit more challenging than what Tigger was, but we'll get these laid down on there and just trying to put it, looks like he's holding the string in his hands. Now, I'm going to fiddle around with who I'm going to put where, just to try and figure out how I'm going to make these fit around these strings. So Tigger has got his main body, and you die cut it out with a black layer and then the orange layer, and then you've got the legs that you're going to add to it. So I'm just getting some glue and some spots. I'm going to get it laid down on there and get it pressed in, and we'll get him assembled. And it really has great detail. I think these characters very much look like the characters. So I'm going to just layer up each of the little legs with a detail piece, and then we'll get them assembled on there. Just give them a little pinch. And when I'm pinching, I'm trying to get some of that glue off that has oozed through there. And we're going to get the other leg. And he's made to look like he's kind of bouncing, Tigger always bounced around. So that's how his legs are made. And we'll just pinch them together and try and get the glue off of there. And then we'll get his front legs assembled. So we'll just glue them up. So it was actually a fun, crafty session to, I wasn't planning to do this, and I've worked with this. In fact, I have got a bunch of Pooh videos on my channel. If you are interested in checking them out. The reason why I know this is when she said she wanted this type of card, I went to look at what I had made already to see if perhaps I could send her a video that she could look at to see, because she said, do whatever. But then once she sent me the picture, I thought I can pretty much replicate that picture. I don't know where it came from. It was not using these dies. It looked more like a hand-sketched picture, but the design, with the balloons and the characters were the same. The sentiment that was on there was not the one that she is requesting. It was a different one, but she was specific about the sentiment that she wanted. And it's the one that says, I've got to think about it. Sometimes the smallest things take up the most room, I think, in your heart. The press plate that went with this, it's called Pooh Sweet Sentiments, had that exact sentiment in there, so I couldn't believe it. That she would specifically want exactly that, and I had the exact sentiment. So fun. Anyway, I'm going to I'm not gluing him down because I'm like, I've got to see how big and how these all are going to fit together. So I just kind of laid him up there. And then we'll get Eeyore assembled, and then we'll kind of play with the two of them. Now, Piglet can go anywhere because it's teeny, 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 tiny. And I just didn't have to worry about it as far as spacing or anything. But these two bigger ones, especially the shape of Eeyore, I was like, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out how to make him hang. So just getting his legs assembled, and he's got several pieces for his tail. You've got the tail, you have the bow, the little knot on the bow, you got the little fur that hangs on the bottom of his tail, and that will put it all together. You've also got this kind of wild hair that's going to go on his back, and so I just used some, I think that's Anchor cardstock, and then we've got, I don't know what the blue is, but I think it's pretty representative of Eeyore. It just makes me think of the Eeyore colors. And so I'm just going to give that a little press. There is the little knot to the bow that I'm going to have to get laid down on there. I don't even know if you can see it. It's so small. There it is, right there. And we'll just get it laid on top of that. So we've got some good detail on that. And I am just going to look and see how are these going to fit on here. And I'll play around with them because they're pretty big, and I'm like, how am I going to get them to work? So I'm just messing around, and I'm thinking maybe I can put Tigger over there, Eeyore here, tuck his head between the A and the B, and snuggle Tigger in, and then I can put Piglet on the Y, because I don't need a lot of space for him. So I'm just going to kind of rotate his head a little bit between those two balloons and just kind of fit him in there and give him a little press. And that's about as good as I can do with that. Now Tigger, I can put the string between Tigger's hands and make it look like he's holding on to it. And then I will have to adjust the Y a little bit so that I can have that string positioned for Piglet. And so I'm just going to give it a little press. And I'm realizing I don't like where the string is. So we're going to get Piglet assembled, and then we can get him attached. This is where I'm like, I'm going to lift this up, and I press that one a little bit harder than I wanted to, and just swivel that Y, and that way I can nestle that little Piglet in beside there. Now Piglet has his little legs and his little arms, and they're just tiny little pieces. And then he has a sweater, maybe it's a she, I don't know. I don't remember the story that well. A sweater and a scarf. So I'm just going to get the teeny little legs on there. And then we've got the little arms, but I'm going to put the sweater on before the arms because I want to lay the one arm on top of the sweater. I think I put the back arm on, then I put the sweater on, and then I'll put the front arm on so that it can be kind of on top of the sweater. And this little outfit looks a lot like what Piglet would wear. Now here's the scarf, and it is a two-piece scarf. You've got the base of the scarf, and then you've got a little detail layer that goes on top of it. Just give it a little press and get it laid down on there. And there's Piglet. We've got to get that other little arm on top. Just get a little glue down on there. You definitely need your fine tip glue for that. And then we've got another little back for the eye, and I'm just going to lay that on there. And now I'm going to nestle Piglet in there somehow. I get some glue on there and just nestle that between his two arms and get him layered on there. We got them all to fit. I can't believe it. I had my doubts as I was moving through this. I thought, I don't know. I knew that I needed a bigger 5x7 card, but I wasn't sure if this was quite big enough with the size of the balloons that I had. But I was able to make it fit, and I think she was happy with it. So there we go. And now I just need to add the sentiment. I had originally thought it would be on the front of the card, but there's no way that that's going to fit on the front. So we're just going to glue it to the inside of the card, and we will have the sentiment, and we've got the baby on the outside, so I think that looks fine. And I already had that pressed. I didn't even have to press it. It was in my stash. So that'll finish off the card. And here is the picture, and this is one I just snapped to send to her via text. Anyway, I hope you like it. If you did, hit that like. Here's some more videos that you might want to check out. Thanks for watching.